Well, a lot of people are talking a lot more about emotional intelligence and how critical this is for groups and particularly leadership teams. So how can leaders increase and improve their emotional intelligence? For more, Rob Pyne joins us now, who's an expert in the field. Welcome back to Ticker News today.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
So tell us, why do leadership teams need emotional intelligence exactly?
As you said, it's an important topic because leadership teams are the top teams in our companies. So people have started studying what makes one leadership team more effective than another team. And I think the question is an interesting one because if you take 6 smart individuals, let's say they've got an IQ of 120 each, right? Does that mean that as a team, they are good at solving tough problems and facing down the complex challenges in our businesses? And the answer, it turns out, is it depends, right? And it actually depends not on the individual's IQ in that team, but it depends on the relationships and the dynamics between them, and ultimately the emotional intelligence, right? So with individuals, my emotional intelligence might be completely unrelated to my IQ and my ability to solve problems. In teams, that's not the case. In teams, it's actually emotional intelligence underpins the ability to solve complex problems, which is what we need our leadership teams to do. So researchers like Anita Williams-Woolley and the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence have found a couple of very specific things that intelligent leadership teams do well. I'll quickly touch on them. One is social sensitivity. So people in the team are mindful about the feelings and thoughts of the others, and they can predict roughly what the other people are thinking. And the other is conversational turn-taking, where effective teams don't have one person dominate, like everyone makes a contribution. So if you get those things right, if you get the EQ of the team right and the dynamics between the members, then you're going to solve problems more effectively, and that's pretty exciting.
So what happens when the team doesn't get it right and they do lack in this space?
Yeah. So as I was talking that great teams become great at solving tough problems, and therefore if the team lacks those emotional intelligence aspects, if the dynamics in the team aren't great, the team will become less effective. But not only that, I think we want to enjoy the leadership teams that we're in. So your team's also going to become less enjoyable if you don't get the trust and the dynamics right. And ultimately, it might end up feeling more like a committee and less like a team. So people turn up and they just download what's happening in a particular functional area. Everyone goes around the table, and then that's kind of it. There's no sense of the team being smarter than the sum of its parts. So emotional intelligence, when you lack it, is really obvious, I guess.
So how do we increase this? If, let's say, a team doesn't have much of it at all, what would your process be in trying to increase this space?
Yeah, this is what I'm working on every day, every week with different leadership teams, is how do we get those foundations right? So think about the foundations for an emotionally intelligent team are really about having a conversation about why do we exist as a team? Like, who are we serving? What's the purpose of this team? I call that the why question. There's a what question. So what are we going to talk about? What are we going to focus on? And there's a how question. How are we going to meet? How are we going to operate? How are we going to make sure our meetings don't end up just like these committee meetings? So the first thing you need to do is set those emotional foundations by asking why, what, and how. Once you've done that, you're into clarifying the behaviors you want in your team. And we're going to think about the signals that you send each other to show that you respect each other. Like, you don't eye roll, you nod. Just really simple stuff like that to represent your listening. And how the team build on each other's contributions. They don't just wait to say their piece. So those are some of the kind of behavioral norms. And the final piece to build the foundations of your emotionally intelligent team is just doing those check-ins to say, before you get into the topic of the day in the leadership team meeting, is just check in with how everyone's world is going. And it sounds a bit cliche, but actually you see the best teams do this. They actually know what's going on in the lives of their teammates. And I've seen plenty of teams where that's not the case. I've seen teams that have been working together for 10 years and one person doesn't know the other's wife's name or husband's name. So we've got to have that sense of personal check-in. How's life going as well? So those are some of the things that you can do to create the environment for your team to be more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It's really interesting work and very detailed and layered. So it's hopefully teams out there are starting to spend some time in this space. Clearly you are, Rob. Great to chat again. How can we learn a bit more about your books and all of your great work?
Yeah, so my book I just came out. It's called Unlock, Leveraging the Hidden Intelligence in Your Leadership Team. So check that out. And yeah, please, everyone, go and have a think about the emotional intelligence of your teams.
Great to have you again on Ticker News today. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.